Anesthesiologists, what are the best things people have said under the gas? Happened today. Patient has a broken ankle fixed and was coming out of anesthesia when he was being wheeled out. The anesthesiologist accidentally hit the door frame on the way out. Patient, did you just do surgery on my leg? Anesthesiologist, yes, you had surgery and are waking up from it. Patient, then why are you running into things? Edit, thank you for the gold and silver, strangers. Instead of giving gold, there's plenty of charities out there that could use the money. Fantastic. Not an anesthesiologist, but was a tech. Had a patient wake up violently. When he came to, he said, "Sorry, I thought I was a shark." Not an anesthesiologist, but my tight-laced, extremely Christian great-grandma apparently asked, "Who the fuck is that ugly son of a bitch?" while she was waking up from a surgery. The person she was referring to, her preacher who stopped by to check up on her. She never lived that one down. The story was even told at her funeral. She was kinda strict, but she was a great lady with a great sense of humor. Not gas, but right after giving midazolam I had a patient say, "Wow, this feels like the 70s, and have had quite a few old men ask me out on a date," before passing out a few seconds later. Patient woke up halfway through a colonoscopy and asked the gastroenterologist if he'd removed the arsegoblin yet. My anesthesiologist tried to calm me down with a joke when I was a little kid being put under. My mom later told me about how I apparently commented on the joke being not at all funny and how I hoped he was more talented as a doctor. Mine kept telling dad jokes and I apparently said, "Thank God I'm going to be unconscious soon," as a critique of his jokes. I had a colonoscopy just last month and the lady who administered the propofol and I had a brief conversation like this. Me, how long is that gonna take to kick in? You'll be out in less than 10. I always win. With a big grin on her face. I started to feel it immediately after that and followed with, "You'll never take me down." I then recall laughing like a maniac, followed by nothing. I think her quip about always winning, and obviously the propofol got me good, haha. I had surgery last year, and when waking up they had a communal room where around 7 to 8 people would all be waking up at the same time, before being sent to individual rooms for some reason. I remember waking up slowly and hearing someone else being asked if they wanted some water. For some reason this really excited me. Like, there was nothing more in the entire world I wanted than to be asked if I wanted water. I practically yelled, or as much as I could yell in that state, "Hey, ask me if I want water," and I'm pretty sure it came out in a "let me speak to your manager" tone, but I was just so excited about the water. Anesthesiologist here. I was once transporting a patient to the ICU after surgery, in which he got some ketamine, and he was rocking out the entire way there with his air guitar. I was coming out of general anesthesia after a surgery to repair a broken leg. I woke up in my room with about a dozen very caring, kind friends and relatives who had all come to see that I was okay. I looked around, saw everyone giving shits about me, said, "Fuck this" loudly and very clearly, and went right back to sleep. My friends thought it was hilarious. My mom was mortified. Similar story. I was coming out of general anesthesia for an emergency appendectomy. Woke up, my family was all in the room. Remember feeling warm fuzzies that they were so concerned for me and thought I just dozed back off. Turns out, I woke up, surveyed them, locked eyes with my mom, and said, "I told you I didn't just have menstrual cramps." Then passed back out with a smug look on my face. I like that in your highest moment your basic instinct was to rub it in your mother's face that she was wrong, hahaha. I'm an anesthesiologist. I was recently taking care of a 17-year-old kid, and he looks at me and says, "Dude, I'm high as fuck." They almost never remember it afterward. So just an anecdote about being a patient. I had reconstructive surgery on my knee. Midway through the surgery I woke up. I didn't feel anything aside from my body moving. I saw the surgeon literally wrenching on my knee. I started to mumble something, and that is when the anesthesiologist said, "Go back to sleep, Scraps." I said okay, and I remember nothing else until I woke up in the recovery room. Another surgery later, I was pretty chummy with the surgeon. We joked around a lot. The last thing he said as I was going under with a big smile was, "So we're doing this on the right leg, right?" It was my left. We had a good laugh at my follow-up later. Backstory: I have epilepsy and a vagal nerve stimulator to control the seizures. It works wonders. From 3 to 4 seizures a week to almost none a year. I went in for the replacement of my device. Going under, I looked at my mother and started laughing hysterically. She asked what was funny. I said she had horns. And as I was coming out of all the drugs, the nurse was kind of a jackass to me, so I said, "Oh man, the next time I puke I'm gonna puke on you." I did. He said, "Man, your aim is good. I'm not even mad at you." I was given a relaxer prior to colonoscopy and was rolled into the room. Doctor asked me what I had done that weekend. I said I went to the MN State Fair. Oh, he says, "Eat anything interesting?" I said, "Why? Don't you tell me." No laughter whatever in the room. And then I was out. I swear she gave an extra shove because I half woke up during the procedure and remember groaning. My cousin had a similar experience before his colonoscopy. They gave him the relaxer and he then started calling his gown his dress and kept trying to cover his butt because it's not time for his close up yet. In high school I had a reconstructive surgery on my knee as I tore my ACL and meniscus in a sports injury. After the surgery I woke up in post-op, which was a fairly large room with probably 6 to 7 other patients in beds waiting to become conscious again. I was lying there all groggy and confused when 2 nurses walked over pushing one of those carts with a computer on it. They stood over me and were typing into the computer when one nurse said to the other in a sort of frantic whisper, "We've got to plug this thing in or this one is going to die." Naturally, semi-conscious me thought that the thing was me, and I started to incoherently yell for the nurses to unplug whatever they needed to in order to find an outlet to keep me alive. Turns out it was the battery on the laptop that was going to die. Apparently the death rate for an ACL repair is pretty low. My fiancé and I had broken up within the last week and was still dealing with that horribly. I was on pain meds for my shoulder and was scheduled for surgery in the current week. The day of the surgery, I was to get a nerve block. The anesthesiologist was the one performing the nerve block. He and I were chit-chatting, and he was just a really comforting person. He was telling me about everything that was going to go on during the surgery. Then we were just chit-chatting about life when the topic of the breakup came up. He was even comforting with that. So after that, I was wheeled into surgery. He was there to put me under, which for some reason put me at great ease. As I was going under, I guess I started talking through the mask and he lifted the mask to hear what I was trying to say. When I boldly stated "I still love you" while holding direct eye contact with him. I didn't know I did it. Not until he visited me in recovery. He said thanks for the nickname. Then told me what I said. I guess the entire surgical staff referred to him by my fiancé's name for the duration of the surgery. So not only did I call this poor guy a woman's name that stuck with him for the duration for the surgery, I stated how much I loved him to boot. When I went back for the second surgery, guess who my anesthesiologist was? Regardless of my foul ups, he is an awesome anesthesiologist and really good at his job. Thank you for watching and enjoying this big bowl of Reddit soup. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe for more content like this.